Hey guys, Vanessa here. So, a few days ago, I was fortunate enough to have an email interview with Mr. Eric Berger. So, I sent him a few questions, and I will have a voice read those questions he sent me. So, let's get right to it. 1. Where did you get the idea to make your music uniquely different than other composers?
I am not sure I did. I know many arrangers and composers who are amazingly creative and original, and have the muse and ability to create very original works. I do not feel I really have that. I am more a craftsman who can take great ideas of others and mold them into a new interpretation. On the arrangement Love for Sale by the Buddy Rich Band, there is very little original arranging by me. It is an effort to do a by-note copy of what his band played.
2. What difficulties or challenges do you usually encounter when composing a new piece?
When composing, which I do not actually do that much, my biggest challenge is not throwing every idea I have into the work, but being economic about the use of ideas and developing only the best ones. I remember I had written a big band work in college, and while it was a good chart, it was so full of different ideas that it almost didn't work. My composition professor had a conversation with me where he suggested I rework it and use only 2 or 3 ideas I had used. I did that, and the result was a much better chart, and actually the first one I had published, though for the life of me, I can't remember the name of the tune.
3. What inspires you to continue composing more pieces of music?
Not sure. I worked over 700 new arrangements in the last years, and it is hard for me to say if the reason is 1. Desire to improve the available works. 2. Leave a legacy for when I die. 3. Make some money. I think it is some combination of the 3. I will tell you that any artist who claims they don't do it for the money is lying.
4. What was your first instrument?
I come from a family of musicians. My grandmother taught piano for over 70 years. My mother played piano, of course, and her brother was a piano player, a trumpet player, a composer and arranger. My father had been a trumpet player. My sisters all played piano and stringed instruments, and sang. 2 of them are professional singers today. My first instrument was likely the tenor ukulele laying about, and I studied piano for a short time. I tried to take trombone in 5th grade, but was kicked out after a few months. In 8th grade, I talked the band teacher into letting me join. He gave me a tuba, and I figured that out on my own.
5. Were there any difficulties trying to learn your instrument in your early stages? If so, how did you get past them?
Sure. I had a terrible time with rhythms, and I am not sure why. I think the primary part was not internalizing the pulse, that I could physically personify the rhythms. I just tried and mostly failed to count. But the truth is I mostly lacked the confidence to trust myself. There was a time after I flunked out of UCLA that I gave up the trombone in frustration. A few years later I started playing again, and was asked to join the semi-pro brass group. They played really difficult works, and after the first rehearsal they praised my reading, and I realized I had done very well, and I got better and better as my confidence grew. As a teacher, I work really hard to help my own students gain that same confidence early, so they do not struggle as I had.
6. What is your opinion on music? That be current music and or past music.
Musicians tend to be the most closed-minded in terms of appreciating music genres they don't care for. My uncle, the arranger, had said to me every era has great tunes and lots of crap. The job is to find the great tunes and forget the crap. I don't think that has changed at all. I tend to not be a racist against genres of music, as I love any style of music that I'm currently playing that pays me money. Smiley face.
7. Where did you originally learn to compose and play music?
On my own. I have a natural curiosity about things, and in most things musical I tend to just figure it out. I taught myself harmony by learning to play the chords on lead sheets to pop songs. Like I learned to play tuba on my own. I taught myself all the brass, woodwind, and most string instruments. The most I ever learned in lessons was percussion techniques. When I started arranging, I just started putting notes on paper.
8. What are some tips that you could give to others wishing to also pursue music as a hobby or potentially as a job?
Love it. That's it. If you love it, you will do the hard work to get better. And the better you get, the more you love it. And don't quit. I get so tired of hearing people tell me, I used to play XXXX and I quit, but I wish I still played. I haven't heard a musician who played, no matter how bad they were, say, boy, I wish I had quit back in high school. My advice to someone who wants to do it for a living: master that one instrument first. And to do it takes 20,000, 30,000 hours of hard work. But that work should also include learning harmony, theory, music history, development of your instrument, and lots of listening. Then learn to do as many other things as you can musically. My skill inventory as a musician is professional performance and instruction on tuba, euphonium, trombone, electric bass, singing, can play and teach trumpet, French horn, clarinet, saxophone, flute, violin, viola, cello, bass viol, piano, guitar, percussion, also composition, arranging, scoring and orchestration, live sound production, including configuring and operating large touring sound systems, studio audio, recording, audio editing, conducting orchestral, wind ensemble, choral, big band leading.
9. Are there any of your pieces that you have a particular fondness for?
Joe Pass and Ella Fitzgerald. 'Tis Autumn and Herber Green. Trist, actually. There are so many I shouldn't try to name them all. I love everything from Good Banda to Baraku.
10. Are there any composers that you've looked up to?
All of them.
11. What are the steps that you go through before/while working on a piece?
I need to have some ideas, inspiration, or a purpose. That's it. The rest is like ditch digging. You have to get in there and just work through the ideas.
12. What is your advice for those just starting up?
Read, listen, learn. I am amazed when I asked a high school sax player, who is your favorite saxophonist, and they don't have an answer. If you want to play an instrument, you should know going and what you want to sound like. Who you want to play like doesn't mean that won't change and evolve. Know the history of your instrument, the development, know the historical greats, and the current players who are making waves. Listen to them and know really what they sound like. Get their sound, their phrasing, the sense, get all that under your fingernails. If you do that, learning to play is easy, because you already know what it is supposed to sound like. And that will fix technical issues galore. And then listen to yourself play. All the time. Good questions. Don't hesitate to contact me if you have any other questions, clarification, or really anything else. And send my best to your instructors, Eric Berger.